In Florida right now, some condo owners are getting letters in the mail for $134,000. Not a mortgage, not a loan, a bill from their building due now. And in Seattle, the citywide condo median price dropped nearly 20% in just 1 year. The citywide condo median fell from $689,975 in January 2025 to $577,000 in January 2026, a 19.3% decline year over year. Two completely different cities, two completely different problems, but the end result is looking very similar. Condo owners stuck, buyers backing off, and a market that most people still don't fully understand. Today, we're going to break down exactly what's happening, why it's happening, and what it means if you own, rent, or are thinking about buying anywhere in this country. Because this isn't just a Florida story. This isn't just a Seattle story. This is a warning for every condo market in America. Let's get into it. To understand Florida, you have to go back to June 24, 2021. That's the night the Champlain Towers South Building in Surfside, Florida partially collapsed while people were sleeping inside. 98 people were killed. The building was built in 1981, and inspectors later found years of deferred maintenance, structural problems that had been flagged and ignored, and a reserve fund that had essentially been drained for decades. It was one of the deadliest structural failures in American history, and it changed everything. Florida's state legislature responded fast. They passed Senate Bill 4D in 2022 and followed up with more legislation in 2023. The basic idea was straightforward. Every condo building 3 stories or taller had to get a real structural inspection, and every condo association had to start actually funding its reserve account. Not half fund it, not vote to skip it, actually fund it. Here's the thing people don't realize. For decades in Florida, condo associations were legally allowed to vote every year to waive their reserve contributions, and most of them did, because keeping fees low made it easier to sell units. It made the monthly numbers look better, so buildings that should have been setting aside money every year for roofs, plumbing, elevators, structural repairs, they just didn't. They kept the HOA fee at $350 a month and called it a day. Then the Surfside law came, and the inspectors showed up, and what they found in building after building was not pretty. At Palm Bay Yacht Club in Miami, a 27-story building with 235 units, the total repair bill came out to $46 million, roughly $175,000 per unit. At Cricket Club in North Miami, a bayfront building built in 1975, the assessment was $30 million, about $134,000 per unit. And at Mediterranean Village in Aventura, owners were hit with assessments reportedly up to $400,000 per unit. Let that sink in. $400,000 per unit. These weren't wealthy second home buyers in every case. Many of these were retirees who had paid off their condo and were living on a fixed income. They didn't have $134,000 sitting around. Nobody expected this. These assessments weren't caused by sudden structural failure. They were the predictable result of years of deferred maintenance, uncovered by the mandated inspections now required under Florida law. And then there's the insurance problem sitting on top of all of this. Miami homeowners carry the heaviest insurance burden among the top 100 U.S. metros, with premiums averaging $22,718 a year. In high-risk markets like Florida, flood coverage must be purchased separately, and hurricane deductibles can reach 2 to 5% of the dwelling coverage. One Florida real estate agent at Coldwell Banker said it plainly: insurance costs have risen and continue to rise in Florida. Premiums have been going up over the last several years as numerous carriers stopped writing policies in the state after recent climate disasters. So you've got owners being hit with 6-figure special assessments, insurance premiums that doubled or more, and HOA fees that in some Miami-Dade high-rise buildings jumped nearly $500 per month in 2025, with insurance components alone averaging $377 per month, and some buildings now charging over $2,000 per month in total fees. When you add that up, the mortgage, the HOA, the insurance, the math stops working for buyers, and sellers know it. The market numbers tell the story clearly. In August 2025, the median sale price for a Florida condo was $285,000, down 8.1% from a year earlier and 14% below the July 2023 peak, according to Realtor.com research. That marks the largest August year-over-year decline since 2010. And the inventory just keeps piling up. Florida condo inventory is up 38% year over year with 13.2 months of supply. Pending condo sales dropped 21% statewide. Condo values in major Florida markets are down between 4.7% and 9.9%. 13 months of supply. That means if no new condos hit the market starting today, it would take over a year to sell what's already listed. That's a lot of sellers chasing not enough buyers. There's also a financing problem that almost nobody is talking about. Fannie Mae's unavailable list, buildings where buyers can't get conventional mortgage financing, has grown from a few hundred condos before 2021 to roughly 5,000 in 2025. In Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties alone, 696 buildings are affected. Think about what that means practically. You find a condo you like, you make an offer, and then your lender tells you the building is on Fannie Mae's list. No conventional financing. You either come up with all cash or you walk away. Most people walk away. In Q1 2026, properties in Florida are sitting on the market for a median of 84 days, up from 68 days in Q1 2025. Sellers are waiting longer, prices are dropping. And the Gulf Coast is getting hit the hardest. Cape Coral faces a projected price decline of 10.2%, followed by Northport at 8.9% and Tampa at 3.6% for 2026. The people who built and sold these condos for decades by keeping fees artificially low are long gone. The people paying for it now are the current owners.
Seattle's condo problem starts with a story most people outside the Pacific Northwest have never heard. For most of the 2010s, developers in Seattle basically stopped building condos, not because nobody wanted them, not because the city ran out of land. They stopped because the legal risk was too high. Washington State had some of the strongest construction defect laws in the country. If a condo association wanted to sue a developer for water intrusion, foundation problems, or faulty windows, they could do it pretty easily. The liability exposure for developers was enormous. So most of them looked at that legal environment and said, we'll build apartments instead. You can't sue a landlord the same way you can sue a condo developer. The result? In 2019, fewer than 200 condo units were permitted in the entire city of Seattle, in a major American city. 200 units. While other cities were cranking out thousands of condos, Seattle was getting almost nothing new. And that created a supply problem that's still playing out today. Washington eventually passed reforms to try to loosen those liability rules and get developers building again. New projects started coming online around 2022 and 2023. But by then, demand had already slowed down because mortgage rates had shot up from 3% to over 7%. So Seattle ended up in an awkward spot, finally getting new condo supply arriving right at the moment buyers were pulling back. And when you add more supply to a market where buyers are already cautious, prices start slipping. The citywide condo median fell from $689,975 in January 2025 to $577,000 in January 2026, a 19.3% decline year over year. Traditional condos posted a median of $445,000, down 12.9%. Looking at King County as a whole, total active listings were up 34.86% in March 2026 compared to March 2025. For condos within Seattle proper, both new and active listings rose noticeably, while pending and closed sales dropped and median condo prices fell nearly 4%, pointing clearly toward a buyer's market for condominiums within the city. At 4.4 months of supply, the condo segment has crossed into balanced and nearly buyer-favorable territory. Rising HOA fees, remote work reducing the walkable commute premium, and more new condo projects hitting the market are all contributing to that shift. And then there's a layer that doesn't get talked about enough, the tech sector pullback. Microsoft cut over 3,200 Washington state jobs since May 2025. Amazon announced more than 2,300 Seattle area cuts in late 2025. When the two biggest employers in your city start laying people off at that scale, the people most likely to buy a $550,000 condo in Capitol Hill start getting cautious. They stop making big financial moves. Deals slow down. And just like Florida, the HOA and reserve issue is starting to surface in Seattle too, just in a quieter way. Based on data from 56 Seattle condo buildings, the average monthly HOA fee ranges from approximately $626 to $1,358 per month. Special assessments can range from a few $1,000s to $50,000 or more per unit. In older buildings, underfunded reserves are a known risk. Washington state law requires HOA associations to conduct periodic reserve studies, but enforcement and compliance vary widely from building to building. Agents are seeing it firsthand. Condo buyers today are weighing not just the purchase price, but also HOA dues, taxes, insurance, the monthly payment, and long-term resale confidence. More inventory gives them choices, and choices give them leverage. As of right now, in June 2026, the 30-year fixed mortgage rate is sitting at 6.60%. Condos are carrying more inventory than single-family homes and giving buyers noticeably more room to negotiate. The situation in Seattle isn't a collapse, it's more of a slow grind downward while the market figures out its new normal. But for people who bought condos at peak 2022 prices in downtown Seattle, that slow grind still hurts.
So let's zoom out for a second and look at what both of these markets are actually telling us. Florida's condo crisis is being driven by something completely structural. Decades of deferred maintenance and artificially low fees are finally catching up. The Surfside collapse forced the state to demand accountability, and now the financial reckoning is landing squarely on current owners who had nothing to do with the decisions that created the problem. Seattle's slowdown is different. It's a supply story, a tech economy story, and a buyer psychology story all rolled into one. The legal history that killed condo development for a decade created a market with almost no new inventory, and now that inventory is finally arriving at exactly the wrong time. But here's what both cities have in common. Buyers today are doing their homework in a way they simply weren't a few years ago. They're asking for reserve studies before they even schedule a showing. They're pulling HOA financials before they fall in love with the view. And they're walking away from deals that don't add up once you look at the total monthly cost, not just the listing price. That's actually healthy. That's what a functioning real estate market is supposed to look like. The lesson from both of these markets is the same whether you're in Florida, Seattle, or anywhere else in the country. The purchase price is just the beginning of the story. The HOA fees, the reserve fund health, the insurance environment, the building's inspection history, that's where the real risk lives. If you own a condo right now and you haven't looked at your association's reserve study recently, that's the first thing to do. If you're thinking about buying a condo anywhere, request those financials before you make an offer, not after, before. Homeowners, renters, and investors are all watching these markets closely right now, and they should be. The numbers are making a lot of things very clear. Drop a comment below if you're in one of these markets and seeing it play out firsthand. And if you found this helpful, subscribe. We cover this stuff every week as it develops.